So, do you think how much? And I guess we can segue to the Chris Haynes report as it pertains to the Pelicans holding on to Zion Williams, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. I think Queen and Fierce kind of went without saying.
Yeah, I don't know why they even mentioned that. That was
unless it's some astronomical Boogie Cousins type deal. That's like, all right, who was it?
For a
Buddy
minute,
Hill,
it could have been Magic Johnson. You know how Magic puts out them tweets is real basic.
Oh yeah, the super obvious.
It's the most obvious thing. Yeah, of course, Queen and Fears aren't going anywhere.
I was like, why was that mentioned? But so what do you make of that report? I know we spoke about this recently. What do you make about that report?
Just that Joe's not coming off the price. Him and Troy are really seeing what they're worth. They know that Zion, for pennies on the dollar, buys them no goodwill with ownership. It buys them no goodwill and found respect on the reputation of the name throughout the league. It looked like they just got being pushed over again. They'll take, again, the first reasonable offer that comes in, a few picks, some players that'll help, something where we can all say, we tried. It's probably best for Zion to go his separate ways, and we're getting a lot back where we can rebuild a team. But until you reach that for Zion, he's going to be here because his contract's waivable, everything that you can do for the summer and rebuild. And by all intents and purposes, Zion went 3-4 weeks ago. Well, I think we talked about it on your show again, about how he went to the team and said, I really want to actually build something here. Keep me. I want to have a great season, even if it's not this one, next one, something that really we can stand on and be proud of. And I believe it because he's played, 15 games straight since then. And the team has given him trust and said, we're not going to have minutes restrictions on you.
He's playing back-to-backs. He might play tonight on the back-to-back.
So unless you get that reasonable offer, you don't trade Zion. Trey, the Desmond Bain package. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Move on to Trey. I have it on pretty good authority that Joe really likes Zion.
Yeah.
Now, they get along pretty well. Now, things could have changed since I last heard this, but I was kind of surprised to even hear this. Like, damn, they hanging out like that. Like they're like he was overseeing his rehab process, and he's been hands-on in that process. Contrary to some reports that he's been hands-off, he's kind of hands-on. Do you think that? What do you think ownership's goal is as it pertains to Zion in their directives to Joe Dumars? Like, do you think it's a situation they would even give him the opportunity to move Zion?
They would give him the opportunity. I don't think there was any mandate that was reported before the season. That was just kind of ridiculous. But when it comes to Joe, we'll go back through it. I've had sources that said he was looking, and I was texting folks in last February, when Griff was still on the job. Even talked to Griff, like, hey, you ever talk to Joe Dumars?
Right.
And, it's like, why am I hearing this name? Then I went up in September for the NBA Referees Association thing. It's a 2-day thing. They sent us through a whole event. Point is, we got to talk to some of the VPs on record. So this is, maybe other people have talked about it on a podcast. I don't think they have, but I know I can share it. That Joe was maybe not lobbying for the job, but he was lobbying for Zion before he had the job. When Joe was in that position for his VP role, they told us in the group meeting, look, Joe was even talking about, because we got to ask questions too, like, hey, I'm from New Orleans with stuff with Zion. I know Griff had sent stuff in and talked about it publicly. And they even then said, it's funny Joe's on the job because he was lobbying for Zion before he got the job. When he was still working for the NBA, he was saying, those are actually fouls. So Griff was right in a way. Yeah. There were people trying to tilt the balance his way, just maybe not enough. Zion wasn't playing enough to get that rhythm with the refs. There's a whole bunch of stuff I could go in for that too, or maybe why certain players don't get calls. But half of it is you have to play. You have to develop a rapport with these people. These refs don't get nights off. There's only 75 or 85 of them now. And they're somewhere every different night. If they don't see you and then you're just going up and it looks, hey, it's going the other way.
Right. Everyone's not going to give you the benefit of the doubt that there's no way he would have missed that.
Like, they can't tell that an elbow caught your hand. I think when Zion broke his hand or had the fracture in his hand, I went back and looked at that play. I wouldn't have called that foul, especially if I didn't know Zion and could see the whole thing and the rest of it. Right. And looking at how the refs watching the game. Right. Yeah, your slot, your trail, and the offside. There was only one real ref that could see that. And you're not going to get that benefit when all you've done is turn around and fuss at him after every single time you didn't get the call of the bucket. That's his rapport. You got to get back out on the court, build that rapport up, and I think he's done a good job of that so far the last 20 games. Yeah,
I think generally talk about bad luck. The year Zion finally starts making the free throws at a consistent level, relatively consistent level. Now it's like it almost doesn't matter because you're dealing with injuries, coaching change, roster construction questions. It's just been new front office executives who may or may not be in lockstep with some of the other guys, who are carryovers from that last tenure. So, there's a lot of things
let's give him credit. Let's give Griff credit. There's a lot of these players he brought in that have a lot of value right now. It can't help all the injuries and the way things shook out. But that's Zion, Ja. There was no winning that draft, it seems.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. The draft that's starting to really annoy me is every time I see Tyrese Maxey out there, boy, I get upset. I ain't gonna lie. I get aggravated.
It's a bona fide criticism. I think you didn't take it.
But the transition to Trey. So, just from my understanding, you say, like, if they get that a quality offer for Zion, something that it can't be a Trey Young deal. Shout out to Trey Young. That painting of that clown back there. It looks not. I don't mean it in an offensive way. It looks like Trey a little bit from the hair. Shout out to my dog Trey Young. I think Trey Young got done dirty. I thought he deserved better. I'm a fan of Trey Young. Now,
I didn't know the clown. I thought it was chopped off.
You're good. I was like,
clown, but that's for later. That's for later.
I was like, I look like Trey Young a little bit, like the hair and the eyes. I ain't talking about like the whole clown aesthetic, but the transition into Trey Murphy, who's having, he's having a quality season moving forward. Started off a little choppy. I heard some reasons why.
Look at his shoulder. It took him a few weeks just to get used to that shoulder. And since December 1, he's averaging like 27 on 41% shooting and all that. It takes you a second. I've had 5 of them. I know this.
And I think people kind of forgot about the shoulder as it pertains to his shooting. I heard some things going on, so he had some leg issues, right? Had a couple of leg issues from what I was told. And Trey always starts slow. Like, he just always kind of starts off the season slow. Sadly, you were hoping he would have a healthy offseason going into this year, so he maybe could have hit the ground running and picked on how incredible he was playing last year. But he's here now, coming off a really good game against Denver. What are your thoughts on the report as it pertains to Trey Murphy and his availability or lack thereof?
They're not going to shop him. I don't believe they put out the price. If we want a Desmond Bane package, if you come with that, we can talk. That wouldn't even get the job done. I just think that's what it's going to take to get Jordan to talk. And their hope was multiple teams brought a Desmond Bane package and they could maybe get something a little extra out of somebody. That hasn't happened. I think that's why you got the leak to Haynes about them all not being available. But they're just waiting it out. We've got a few more weeks. All they did kind of was tell on themselves and say we don't have multiple offers for Trey at our asking price. And the same for Herb.
Right.
If they had that, you'd hear different rumors and different leaks like, oh, these two teams are interested. Maybe they're going to bid it. You know those leaks, how it works out. So they didn't get multiple offers, or they probably didn't even get one. But they're going to wait it out because somebody's going to get desperate. We know somebody's going to see that title right there, and they're a Herb or Trey away. They're going to convince themselves into paying it. And there's a few teams that can pay it and fit that, top 6, top 8 profile.
No, I have my opinion on this, and with Joe Dumars, being in his early 60s, being a tenured guy, just in the NBA league front office generally, and what he was able to do. Because people think about Darko, they think about some of those misses in Detroit, but they don't think about the wins. They don't think about Billups, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton, distressed assets that he brought on. Chauncey Billups credits him with pretty much saving his career. Rasheed Wallace,
they built a culture around not having a star player.
2 finals appearances. I think they had 4 All-Stars on the same team, multiple Eastern Conference appearances. Joe Dumars did his job in Detroit. So do you think that he's willing to, even if he had permission to, do you think he'd be more willing to go with a patient approach in New Orleans? Or you think, I ain't here to rebuild, I'm here to win? I feel like a couple of the pieces are here. I can round out the rest of this roster. Derek Queen is more of a plug and play guy. There's questions about his upside, so to speak, I think he's more ready now. I don't think Derek Queen has like this tremendous upside. I think he's a guy, I think he's already about 22 years old. I think you're seeing a little bit of who you're going to see moving forward. But do you think Joe Dumars is like, that's a tear down and rebuild? The offers are there. We take the slow approach, put it on the back burner.
No, I mean, I trusted him to even start the season that they were going to be competitive. I think that goal was the play in. I don't think they thought this was a top 6 roster, but they think they're a few pieces away. And I think patience is in the cards. One, you're not going to get the Zion. You got to be patient at that point or just wave him, but I don't think they'll do that because somebody will give you something. And again, Joe likes Zion. Trey's locked up. Herb's maybe, going to be here for a couple more years. I still think he doesn't mind waiting this out to see what they can really be. And if it doesn't work out again to start next year, I mean, then you have to.
Then it's like, all right, bro.
But no, I think there would be a patience. That's why they're standing so firm, is they don't mind if nothing else, waiting us out to the draft and then making some changes. So this season, they know it is what it is. So why make a pressured, panicked move and then you mess up more? It's best just to stand pat, let it play out. Maybe you build something, move Poole, and let the other guys grow as they may. Let Murray take his minutes, and then you don't have as much friction. And see what you got. So you can be patient with that. And I think Joe's fine with that approach.
Man, you just brought up a name, man. Now for Jordan Poole, I try to tell people Jordan Poole's an expiring contract this offseason. So that contract he's on is probably gonna be more valuable than it's ever been since the day he signed it, right? You mentioned Dejounte Murray. And man, right now, that's like, does he really exist? It's like, it's one of those things.
He does on Instagram. It seems like he's ready to play. He's posting every day on different things he's doing. He looks ready.
What's the beat you have on Dejounte Murray and his potential return to just basketball in general, not even necessarily the Pelicans? You think he'll be here? Do you think maybe a team trades for him sight unseen? Like what are your vibes on the Dejounte Murray status right now?
See, that's why I think you have to move Poole before the deadline, is because you need to give Murray that time to build up his value. He didn't look that great before he got hurt in New Orleans.
Yeah,
there's a reason Atlanta wanted to get off of him instead of Young, because it wasn't quite working out there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if you can move some minutes out of the way, let him go in and just mentor fears and show that he's going to be a good veteran that can put up 16, 5, something that's respectable. Then you got something you can package in the summer. But right now, I don't see a true contender making a move for him, and I can't see a play-in team going, we're a Murray away and we don't know what we're getting. We might as well make a move. It just doesn't make any sense.
Do you think a team like potentially, let's say the Houston Rockets, who they desperately need a point guard at any capacity right now, and Fred VanVleet, he's out with the ACL, of course. I think he has a team option for next year. Do you think that's a team that say, well, look, this guy at 80% is better than the nothing we have at 100% right now? Let's bring him on. We'll give you a distressed asset. We'll take on your distressed asset. Cool. Now we're all in. I think Kevin Durant's 37, something along those lines. Yeah. And he's still as great as a scorer as ever, but you see Father Time a little bit. And he's never had, it was unfair to him as he's never had a point guard. Kyrie gets hurt. Tyus Jones doesn't really live up to, who we thought he was in Memphis, of course. And now he's in Houston. Fred VanVleet gets hurt. So do you think they look, we're going to get you a stopgap point guard for right now? Do you think they could potentially have any interest?
A stopgap, yes. On Murray, no. Because, the Achilles, you see it with Brandon Clark and multiple others. You had the Achilles. The other leg's going to get hurt because it's been overcompensating. It's going to take them a while. Well, right. I don't think they want to make that bet, especially when you could just dip down and get Jose Alvarado. He's still better than the 0% you got now.
Yeah. Jose for Tyree, he said, man, I say call it in.
Something like that. Something like that. Or switch it where Jose goes to Houston. Houston sends Memphis something. Memphis sends Gigi Jackson.
Yeah.
Some simple like that, because Gigi's not getting any minutes right now in Memphis. He had a great rookie year, has done enough to get back on the court, but there's just not been that opportunity with Il Salo. So why not get him to a spot? New Orleans could definitely use him, especially if Carlo's not coming back. Gigi's locked up for a couple more years. There's a lot of smaller moves, so I don't think Houston especially, would take that swing. Hell, I could almost see. No, not them either. It's just hard to see Murray having a spot.
Yeah, man. I think clutch. They can work all the magic.
Probably gonna have to earn the money.
Yeah, because it's difficult. I think the most likely outcome is Dejounte for another clutch client. Truthfully, because I think at this point you're trying to just get to a neutral value, and him having multiple years left. That's really what makes. If he had 1 year left after this current deal, it wouldn't be so bad. But him having multiple years left is what really makes it difficult in my estimation. You mentioned Jose. Personally, I love the idea of Jose and stuff for Ben Mathurin. I know Indiana had some interest. Ben Mathurin seems to be on the outs in Indiana. This has got to be one of the craziest years I remember, bro. You got guys like Ben Mathurin, Cam Thomas, Kuminga to a lesser degree.
People in New Orleans love Ben Mathurin before the draft. They still got some people that love him in the draft on the coaching staff.
I was a fan of Ben Mathurin, man. I was a fan, bro. So, Jose's out right now. Last we heard, look, I saw Jose last night. Jose was standing up more than the coaches. He would not sit down. I thought they should have called security on him at one point. He was standing up too much.
No, never.
But what? He's supposed to be out for like 2 weeks. And tomorrow is the 15th, baby. Kaminga, it's time for you, Kaminga. You got to find a new home. So it's probably gonna be some action happening as soon as
Kaminga, Herb, Santi Aldama. You got a few
Dumars.
others that are about to pop. But you mentioned about rooting for Jose and something. I've got to root for Jose in New York. They need a point guard.
Which New York?
The one playing for a playoff spot.
Okay.
I want to see Jose in a 7-game series that matters. I don't want to see him in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Unless he goes to New York for the playoff run and then signs for Brooklyn in the summer, so he can get a little bit closer to home. But no, there's no reason Jose Alvarado's energy, like he was just mentioning, should not be in Madison Square Garden pumping up the home crowd.
Right.
They need him. They have the assets to move him. I mean, get the 4 seconds that you got for Devontae Graham back or something, but send Jose home. Do Jose right. Do not send Jose to, I don't want to cuss it, Utah or some shit. Don't do it. Send Jose home, Joe.
Man, it's so tough.
They've been interested. They've mentioned it's leaked to everybody. Everybody in New York
deal today, guys. They do that deal today, probably, right? Like that's a phone call away, I would imagine, with the Knicks, because what's homie name? I call him YG. Played for the Sixers last year, stretch big. Him, got another couple other young wings out there just for salary.
New York's got the fella I like. He was just on the. Now I'm forgetting his name. I forgot the whole roster. We forgot the whole roster.
The Knicks got a very interesting second unit. There's a lot of nameless players.
Well, he's the fella that was mentioning how he wants to stay in the NBA until he gets his 5th year, so his whole family gets life insurance covered and all that.
Oh wow, okay.
Bring him to New Orleans. Let's help get him his 5th year. Whatever, his contract to cover. Send him. Him and Jose match up. Do something right by everybody.
It's so interesting, man, because so many iterations of some of these trades. The Pelicans not having a roster spot complicates things. So many iterations of these trades, you gotta create a roster spot at minimum, especially if you planning on signing Bryce McGowan's, which it appears like they're looking to do. I don't really understand how they're handling that situation.
Between him and Mike, I don't know. I mean, you got Zion saying Mike needs to be in the Rising Stars game, and then other nights it looks like they forget about him and Bryce. And so,
and I like Bryce, but it's okay, the two-way players have a finite amount of games they can play.
50
games.
Yeah.
You're resting Bryce as if you plan on carrying them over to the end of this. Bro, you got about another 2 weeks and your season's over. It's you're really gonna be seeing a lot of the young guys then. So I don't really understand what they're doing there. I
don't understand what they're doing with Carlo, because Carlo has a lot of value. He could be like a Larry Nance light when Larry Nance could actually dunk.
Sorry, Larry. My guy, man. And, Dawson, man, that's why you're one of the best in the business, brother. You segue into a perfect question, man. I got to throw a curveball at you. What's your no, I'm not going to ask you that. I'm not even going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you this. What do you think the evaluation of Borrego has been thus far? If you had to guess, what do you think they've taken away from Borrego's tenure at this stage?
They're taking a lot of good things away. I'll start with the positives. They're playing better. There's better energy and all that through. They're playing better action, stuff like that. But right now, if you told me there's 2 different options between Borrego getting a job and a contract extension at the end of the year, or Borrego's actually stepping aside at the All-Star break to let one of the squadron guys have a shot at it, man, I'd be torn, because I really would, because getting him to next season and give him a long contract extension, they're not getting the wins. You need to see more of the roster, sure, but there's going to be so many other coaches out there that I think that's where Joe will see one of those fresh start, blank canvas, no hangover from the Willie Green, where next year, if it doesn't start right, we all know the fans and the people running the shows, they should have cleaned house. They should have got everybody that was done with it.
And I said it this offseason. So, yeah.
Right. So that's where I'm torn. And I truly do believe they could see him step aside. Maybe not Corey Brewer, even though he coached the summer league team, stepping in. But if the losses just keep coming, Borrego seems like he's still enjoying the job right now. You can tell during his press conferences, he's still up. He's still answering. He's going to explain stuff to you. He hadn't got short or curt with anybody.
Right.
But if it gets to that kind of grind and they, are 12 and 50 something, let somebody else get their feet wet. The losses as an interim, they're still going on Willie Green. You know what I mean? So why not let somebody else get out there, see what you can have, see what the players do when they're left to their own devices a little bit, because it'll be the third coach. But you give Borrego a little bit of grace and hey, it's not quite working out. We know you're going to want other jobs.
Right.
And if we're already thinking about this, we know you're not going to be the coach next year.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and all have a glass of wine and say, sorry, it didn't work out.
Because, I think, man, a lot of people think it'll work out like it's working out in Memphis right now. Because I love what the coaching staff is doing out there, how those guys are consistently battling with all the injuries, missing Brandon Clark, Ty Jerome, Edie's out, just crazy list of injuries since the start of the season. And they still managed to have twice as many wins as the Pelicans, including some very impressive victories. I think they just beat the Spurs the other day, am I right?
Beat Spurs. I mean, they beat the Pelicans in opening night with that last second.
Twice, came back from double-digit deficit twice. So even look at Jacques Vaughn, when Jacques Vaughn with the Nets, how he took over, managed to stack some victories. And then you got the other side of the spectrum. And then you got the Doug Christies. And you got the James Borregos. And it's like, look, man, sometimes when you're coming from Taylor Jenkins coaching tree and that unit, and guys are used to winning, guys know what winning looks like. They're doing it at a high level, even missing some of their stars playing limited minutes, and they're still going out there and maximizing the people they have available. That's one thing. In my opinion, that's just not what we're seeing with the Pelicans. Of course, it's not what we're seeing with the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings happened to, if I'm not mistaken, they got more wins than the Pelicans and some more impressive victories. So it's just, I just think, and it's, credit, give the guys credit, as Griff would say. And, Griff brought in James Borrego because he believed in him. He thought James Borrego could carry on the mantle. And it's like, nah, Griff, it's time for us to just move on from that, that just whole Willie Green, David Griffin tenure, in my estimation, because you mentioned Carlo. I think Carlo played about 17 minutes. No, I think he played maybe about 17 minutes last night, maybe a little less.
They fluctuate so much. It doesn't seem like there's a clear plan for Carlo Lit. But I kind of put that on the front office because Borrego should have been the head coach from training camp. And I think you have at least 5 more wins. If Borrego has that, you give him a healthy roster, I think he has 8 more wins than you have now. And now you're sitting at 500, maybe top 6. It could have been that good. And
that's my issue. Like looking at this roster, man, and how they're losing. Even, this isn't the most talented roster, but again, you're going out losing against
this isn't the Charlotte Bobcats.
Yeah,
this isn't the expansion Raptors.
Yeah, this isn't that. This isn't the post John Wall Wizards. Like this isn't quite that. This is like, you're losing by 2 or 3 possessions. The rotations are a little wonky. Yves Messi, who I thought was played very well, has just gotten back into the rotation. Poole may or may not play. Carlo may or may not play. I don't know what's happening with Looney. Like it's just a lot of indecision happening. And in my opinion, it's a lot of overcorrection happening. Like, if it works Friday, it doesn't work Thursday. No, I'm sorry. If it works Wednesday, but it doesn't work Thursday, Friday, we'll never see it again. It's like, we don't have a healthy enough diet of what works and what doesn't work. And we're going away from it already. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we don't see Carlo. We just saw Carlo start a game a couple nights ago. And now we barely see him.
And I think it was like 8 minutes. But it goes back to look at the 5-game win streak. Mm-hmm. They put a lot of great stuff on tape.
Mm-hmm.
When they tried it again after that 2 weeks of drive wins, the next 2 weeks, 4 of those plays didn't work, and they lost, 3 games by 4 points or less in the next stretch. And it led to a 5-game losing streak where just 2 or 3 plays, 2 or 3 Herb Joneses, 2 or 3 Zion that actually makes the layup or has attempted a 3-pointer to space the floor for somebody else. I really want to see that by the end of the season. But just a little bit of that. There's so much that could have went right and didn't. That is maybe one reason I could see them extending Borrego as the head coach for next year or a lame duck year past that. Because if half of that goes right, you're sitting pretty as far as a team getting the play in or a 6 seed. It just hasn't happened for.
And 2 questions, and we'll end on this note. With as far as Zion and this staff, right? I'll just say the staff because you still got guys from the Stan Van Gundy era. With this, that it's pretty crazy to see, honestly. Do you feel like Zion, when available, has been maximized with the Pelicans from a usage standpoint?
If you mentioned the Stan Van Gundy, I mean, look, not just his points, but again, Zion can't shoot. We talk about Ja Morant at the beginning. His shot is just falling off a chart. Point Zion, I think, is the best Zion. It's the only one that's really worked, and he's been able to sustain with it. It keeps him involved, it keeps him engaged and all that, but he can dish off the other people. He's got the gravity. Once he touches the paint, he's triple teamed. Somebody else is open. Let him make assists all day. But until we get that Zion back again, no, he's not being optimized because he's not a Karl Malone. He can't even hit that little 15 foot, little Karl Malone baseline jumper. Have we seen that yet? So he's the worst version of that.
I think the largest addition to his game, I'll say this season, you go back to the Orlando game when it seemed like he hit every floater possible. It's like, yo, when you start working on this, and you know what that's worth in the market?
How much was Etuan Moore getting paid? Uncle E had the best floater in the game. If that's what you're leaning on for Zion, he is worth Etuan Moore money.
And my thing is like, why is it so difficult to get this guy a consistent 18 to 19 attempts? And like, to me, that's what I struggle with from the coaching standpoint, is just an understanding of hierarchy. Like, Jeremiah Fitz is 19 years old. He gets the rebound. He's going coast to coast. He's not passing the ball. And he going coast to coast, but he's not making it, making the layups or, DQ, shout out DQ. You're looking off Zion for Micah Peavy on a right wing three. Last night, Zion's in the post so long. He got Tim Hardaway Jr. sealed on him, calling for the basketball. He's in the post so long, sailing, calling for the ball. He gets an offensive 3-second penalty. And it's like, yo, what are we? We need to pass the ball to Will philosophy here, because it's like, yo, you gotta, at worst, if you're trading this guy, wouldn't you want to put the best film out there of him just dominating so you can maximize the return? It just that's one issue.
I go back to, if you're really scouting Zion, go back to the very first play he run with the Pelicans. I'm talking preseason 2019 against the Hawks. It still gets talked about. That's why I can pull it up like this. It was just a little handoff. He was already getting downhill. Shooters in the corners, could have had somebody. Why are they not built off that? If Zion's not your point and you've got him running off the ball like that, that was everything you needed to see. How many times have we seen Zion run that play in the last 15 games? They don't even run it every game. And it's the best thing for Zion to do. You get Zion coming downhill. His defender's a yard behind him, not just a foot, but a full yard and a screen behind him. He's got somebody in front. He can do everything he wants. Why are we not seeing that 15 times a game?
Man, and that's really what I mean by maximizing guys. It's just like, at one point we saw the Zion and Trey substitutions where they're subbing out for one another instead of playing together. This season, we don't see as many Zion and Trey two-man actions. We don't see a ton of Zion and Queen actions. It's just, to me, it's just bizarre, man. Like, it's just, a lot of it's just bizarre. And, man, you just made me think about something. Jordan Hawkins over Keontae George. Oh, my God. And Keontae George is having a masterful season right now. But
they thought Jordan Hawkins was going to be Cam Spencer. What can you say? They picked the wrong UConn guy.
Yeah, man.
Because Cam Spencer's blowing up right now.
Yeah,
I think his next contract is going to surprise people, because you've already got other teams not only scouting and putting him on the scouting report. We got with Dumars about that the other day. But, I mean, there are more scouts showing up to Grizzlies games.
See Cam.
Just to and scout the scouts. A lot of the media, I see them, they're not to fuss at people. They're all just going off about yourself. Right. Some places actually list where the scouts are sitting in some of the media rooms. If I sit there and watch, and every time this one player makes a play, they all pick up the pencil. But when he's on the bench, they're having popcorn. You start getting able to put things together without having all the sources they want to talk about. Cam Spencer is one of those guys. Herb Jones and Trey were one of those guys years ago. Hell, I don't even know where he moved to, but Tony Delk used to be played with the Hawks, then was scouting with the Hawks, moved to another, wherever he's at. I remember talking to him a few times, and he would literally just sit there and scout the other scouts. It was a great conversation we had in the Smoothie King Center. Tony, what's up?
Hey, Dawson be in the building, man. Dawson doing this thing.
If you're in there, you might as well pay attention.
Yes, indeed.
Some of them ain't paying attention. They don't even know what scouts are sitting next to them. That's where I think the media could do a better service to the fans and not come with some of the other stuff. But, hey, what you going to do? But you can see the guys that scouts are coming to watch, especially on their first contracts, and you see how quickly they disappear, say, for a Jackson Hayes. They very learn quickly.
Why you have to go there? Why you have to go to our old homeboy, Jackson?
Look, because when I lived right next to Currency's little smoke shop and Jackson shows up, what you going to do? But he played wide receiver. He never played backcourt, outside ball like Herb and got up and down. Right. So it was just a different player. And, hey, they see what they see. They know what they know. They leave. And he's doing kind of well with the Lakers. I hope he's, doing great things with his camp. No hate, Jackson, but just that's how you can see how scouts are coming to look at people. and why some of them don't get traded and some of them do.
So, final question. And I know I said final question, but let me ask you this. What were your revelations from the were you in the building for the what was it, the G League meetup thing that they I know Brett
the showcase.
Yes.
No, I hit a few other things that weekend, but the G League showcase was great. Here's a name for you. Here's a name to watch. Daquan Plowden is blowing up. He's a guy that scouts are showing up and they're not leaving. You talk to other people, hey, have you seen Daquan? Yeah, a few people showed up for him today because he's dropping 20, 30 points every night. If you haven't checked out what Daquan's doing, check him out. You had I wish you'd have gave me a script and some notes on this one. Boy from New Orleans, Duran, maybe played for the Mavs at Summer League.
Okay.
Hunt, I believe. Anyway, he was doing pretty well. You had the other fella from New Orleans. When I go to these G League things, I'm usually catching up from my Louisiana guys. I'm representing the boot as much as I can. Maybe hearing where Sanak's going to go in the draft to get out of Houston. But another name, he played for the Nets, actually broke his leg. Damn. The very last game of Summer League, I was trying to check out where he was going. So it's stuff like that. When I'm in there, you don't want to be too thirsty.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm checking in on my guys. And whatever comes to me, comes to me.
Right. Final question.
Ferran Hunt. Ferran, not Duran. Ferran Hunt.
Final question. How do you think the Pelicans who do you think staying and who do you think going? I'll say that. Hate to put you on the spot.
I'll give you this. I think if I put a over-under on players leaving the Pelicans before the trade deadline, it would be 3.5. I think you got Poole gone.
You think Poole's gone before the summer?
Yeah, I think Poole's gone in the next 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Like before February 5th. There's no reason to keep him and then try and move Murray into the rotation.
Okay.
So if Poole's not gone, maybe somebody does take a gamble on Murray, but I just don't see it.
Okay.
Then Looney, somebody else is going to be in a package.
$8 million team option. Yep.
There's a throw in there. Maybe a Carlo goes somewhere. And then Jose, I think, with him being expiring and so many teams needing a point guard and the Pelicans needing 4 second-round picks.
Right.
There's your 4 options. Maybe one of them doesn't work. Over-under on new Pelicans joining the team is 3.5.
Would you put Hawkins on that list?
I would definitely put Hawkins on that list because he's got a little bit of control. There are teams that want to look at Hawkins. They think he could be a Cam Spencer. I mentioned that one. They just think he needs new scenery. Somebody's going to say he's a great shooter,
right?
But they've run nothing for him. They haven't used Zion to get him in good spots. He's been there's a lot of ways you could talk up and say when Jordan Hawkins has been hot in New Orleans, he's been worth the first-round pick. That's
really the benefit of being the Pelicans because with your assets, you can always say, someone always say, no, you failed him. We'll take him on and we'll fix him. Like you see what's happening with Nikhil.
Even it wasn't us, it was them.
Right. Even though this is Nikhil's like 3rd team, but it's like 14 maybe, like Nikhil, Dice. Other guys, we'll figure it out. So, man, again, tell the people where they can find you. I appreciate you joining us, brother.
Hey, I always love to join you. Love what you do. You can find me in the gym, but if you're on social media, it's just @DoingItDodson, X, Instagram, whatever like that. So, the end of the NBA, you want to catch all the media, that's X. If you're a college or maybe a high school kid looking for help in any way, hit me up on Instagram. That's where more of the videos and stuff's at.
Oh, my bad. One last thing. Is Ja on the Memphis Grizzlies post-trade deadline? Is Ja Morant with the Memphis Grizzlies post-trade deadline?
Ja's moved. Ja may be moved before they fly back from Europe.
Oh, my God.
But I definitely think he's gone by the trade deadline. We've reached that point. And that's changed I had different reporting 48 hours ago. I thought they could mend the fence.
Right.
But you get to different leaked videos and other things coming out since the video and you send in the text. It sounds like the divorce is done. It's just, how he's splitting assets here.
Right. Man, I appreciate it, brother. Again, it's in your league. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hype the video up, man. Dotson, I know you got a busy rest of the month ahead of you. Tomorrow's the 15th, baby. It's about to go down.
And then we start the conference tournaments for NCAA and scouting. The game never stops, baby. Y'all stay in it.
Yes, indeed, man. We out. Peace.